Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to remind you of a simple truth that we often forget. You were not born to stay in the shadows. You were born to make history. You were not born just to pay bills, follow routines, or live someone else's dream. No, you were born with a spark, a fire, a calling inside you that refuses to be silenced. You were born to rise, to stand out, and to shape a legacy no one can erase. History is not only written in textbooks, it is written in the decisions you make daily. It is written when you take a stand, when you get back up after failing, when you believe in yourself even when no one else does. You are not here by accident. Every pain you've endured, every challenge you've faced, they are all part of your story. And guess what? That story is not over. In fact, the best chapters are still unwritten. The world may try to put labels on you. Too young, too old, not qualified, not talented enough. But history has always been made by those who ignore the noise and follow their purpose. So stand tall. Stand tall. Don't shrink yourself to fit into people's comfort zones. Be bold. Be courageous. Leave your fingerprint on this world because you were born to make history. Every individual has a unique identity, a unique strength. You were not born to blend into the background or live a life of silence. Bah. Your very existence is proof that you were created with intention to shine, to contribute, and to change something in this world. Don't let fear, society, or self-doubt convince you otherwise. It's not just grand events that make history. The courage to try again, the discipline to push through, and the decision to be kind. These small actions accumulate over time and create a legacy. Your daily habits, mindset, and effort matter more than you realize. Many spend their lives trying to fit into roles, expectations, and molds made by others. But history makers are those who break patterns and rewrite rules. Be brave enough to walk your path, even if you have to walk it alone at first. The setbacks, the heartbreaks, the failures, they are not the end of your story. They are the forging fires that shape your strength, deepen your wisdom, and prepare you for greatness. Let your scars remind you that you're a survivor. And survivors shape the future. Aika, your ideas, dreams, and experiences matter. Don't underestimate your impact. Even one act of bravery, one creative idea, or one honest story can ripple through time and touch generations. Silence helps no one. Speak, act, create. The moment you decide to step into your purpose, fear will show up. That's normal. But history isn't made by the fearless. It's made by those who feel fear but move anyway. Your growth lies on the other side of your comfort zone. Many wait for permission, for validation, for the right time. But history waits for no one. If you feel called, if you know deep down you're meant for more, begin now. Your confidence will grow with every step forward. Progress comes from movement, not perfection. Making history is not about fame. It's about living fully with purpose, passion, and integrity. It's about showing up, being present, giving your best, and staying true to your values. That's how real history is made, one meaningful step at a time. Oh. From the moment you took your first breath, you entered a world filled with potential, and you brought something into it that no one else ever has. You, your fingerprints, your thoughts, your dreams, your story, they are all one of a kind. But too often, society teaches us to conform, to dim our light, to suppress our individuality so we can fit into neat categories and comfort zones. We are told not to speak too loudly, not to dream too big, not to think too differently. And slowly we start believing that maybe being ordinary is safer. Maybe it's easier. But deep down, you know that's not who you truly are. You feel that whisper inside, that quiet nudge that tells you there's more to discover, more to become, more to give. That's because you weren't made to simply exist. You were made to matter. You were designed with a purpose only you can fulfill. You have a voice that deserves to be heard, a story that deserves to be told, and a path that no one else can walk but you. Standing out doesn't mean shouting the loudest or chasing fame. It means embracing your uniqueness, living authentically, and honoring your inner compass even when it goes against the current. It means recognizing that your worth is not tied to comparison, but to the courage it takes to be yourself in a world that tries to make you someone else. When we think of history, our minds often jump to monumental events, legendary figures, or groundbreaking achievements. But what we forget is that behind every historical moment lies a long trail of quiet, often unnoticed decisions. Decisions made in the stillness of the morning, in the chaos of uncertainty, or in the face of fear. History is not simply shaped by what happens in the spotlight. It's shaped by the choices you make when no one is watching. Every single day, you are presented with countless opportunities to shape your future. Will you get up early and work on your dream, or will you hit snooze again? Will you speak up for what you believe in, or will you stay silent for the sake of comfort? Will you take that small risk, make that call, try one more time, or will you let fear win? These moments might seem small, even insignificant, but over time they build momentum. They carve the direction of your life. They become the bricks in the foundation of your legacy. It's easy to believe that greatness is something that happens all at once, that people suddenly become successful or legendary. But in truth, history is made one choice at a time. It's in the decision to keep learning, to grow through discomfort, to be kind when it's hard, to be disciplined when it's easier to quit. These consistent, intentional actions stack up. They build character, resilience, and purpose, the very ingredients that fuel a life worth remembering. From childhood, we're often conditioned to follow a pre-written script. Go to school, get a job, follow the rules, stay within the lines. Society creates templates for how we should live, what we should want, and even who we should become. And if you stray too far from that script, people start to look at you differently. They question your decisions, doubt your dreams, and try to pull you back into the familiar pattern. But here's the truth. You were never meant to be a copy of someone else's expectations. And you were born to carve out a journey that is uniquely yours. Fitting in might feel safe, but it's not fulfilling. It's like trying to shrink yourself to squeeze into someone else's shoes. Uncomfortable, unnatural, and unsustainable. The people who truly leave a mark on the world are rarely the ones who followed the crowd. They're the ones who dared to step off the beaten path, the ones who believed in something different, something greater, even when others didn't understand. Your instincts, your vision, and your voice are guiding you toward a life that only you can live. When you suppress those things to fit in, you don't just lose your individuality, you lose the very magic that sets you apart. Creating your own path takes courage. It means taking risks, embracing uncertainty, and facing criticism. It means being misunderstood at times, walking alone at others. But it also means freedom, the freedom to chase your passion, define success on your terms, and wake up every day with a sense of purpose that no one can take from you. When you live true to who you are and follow the path that aligns with your soul, you inspire others to do the same. You become proof that it's possible to live boldly and authentically, no matter how different that looks from the norm. We often try to run from pain. We try to silence it, numb it, bury it deep inside us, hoping it will eventually disappear. But pain doesn't go away by being ignored. It transforms. It either becomes a wound that quietly poisons us from within, or it becomes the fuel that propels us into our destiny. The difference lies in how we choose to respond to it. And the truth is, your pain, no matter how dark, confusing, or heavy, carries within it a powerful purpose. Every challenge you faced, every disappointment that left you broken, every loss that shook your foundation, none of it has been meaningless. These moments have shaped you, refined you, and given you a depth that cannot be gained through ease or comfort. Pain teaches us what truly matters. It opens our eyes, humbles our pride, and awakens a strength we didn't even know we had. You may not have chosen your pain, but you can choose what you build from it. The most inspiring people in history, the ones who moved hearts, changed minds, and shifted the world, all went through profound suffering. They faced rejection, betrayal, failure, and heartbreak. But instead of letting it destroy them, they used it as a catalyst. They let the fire forge their resilience, deepen their empathy, and sharpen their purpose. Pain became the message that others needed to hear. And that same potential exists within you. Your struggles, though deeply personal, connect you to others in a powerful way. When you own your story, even the broken parts, you give others permission to heal from theirs. You become a living example that scars are not signs of weakness, but of survival. They show the world that you've lived through storms and still kept walking. That strength, that endurance, that wisdom born from pain, that is what can make your life extraordinary. In a world filled with noise, competition, and constant comparison, it's easy to question whether your presence really matters, whether your ideas, your story, or your dreams hold any real value. But let this be a reminder. There has never been and will never be another you. Your voice is not just a sound. It's a message shaped by your life experiences, your struggles, your victories, your truth. And that message is something the world desperately needs. Too many people stay silent, believing they have nothing special to offer, that their thoughts are not important, or that someone else has already said it better. But the power of your voice is not in perfection, it's in authenticity. No one sees the world through your eyes. No one else has your precise combination of passion, pain, and purpose. When you choose to speak up, to express your truth, to share your story, you give people permission to do the same. You show others they are not alone. You light the way for those still stuck in the dark. Your vision, the dreams you carry, the ideas that ignite your heart, they exist for a reason. They were not randomly placed inside you. They are a reflection of your calling, and even if no one else understands them at first, that does not make them invalid. Some of the greatest changes in the world began as impossible dreams in the hearts of people who refused to give up on what they saw. Your vision could be the solution to a problem others haven't even recognized yet. And your value, it is not based on titles, awards, followers, or status. It is inherent. You matter because you exist. You matter because you care. You matter because your very presence has the ability to shift the atmosphere around you. Whether through words, actions, creativity, or simply showing up with kindness and strength, you bring something to the table that no one else can. The world doesn't just benefit from your contribution. It needs it. Because without your voice, your vision, and your value, the story of humanity remains incomplete. Fear often wears a mask of warning, making us believe it's a signal to stop, to retreat, to turn around and return to safety. But more often than not, fear doesn't show up because you're doing something wrong. It shows up because you're about to do something right, something brave, something bold, something that will stretch you beyond your comfort zone and move you closer to your true potential. Fear is not the enemy. It's the gatekeeper that appears right before growth, change, and transformation. When you dream of doing something meaningful, fear will whisper, "Oh, what if you fail?" When you consider stepping out, fear will taunt you with thoughts like, "You're not good enough," or "What will they think?" or "You're not ready." But this resistance, this fear, is actually proof that you're walking towards something that matters. No one feels afraid when they're standing still. Fear doesn't visit the stagnant, it visits the rising. Every person who's ever achieved greatness has encountered fear. The difference is they didn't let it paralyze them. They walked with it, through it, and eventually beyond it. The presence of fear means you are alive, awake, and aware of the risks. And that awareness is part of what makes your courage real. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward even when fear is screaming in your ear. And don't confuse comfort with safety. Comfort zones feel secure, but they're often cages in disguise, preventing you from discovering what you're truly capable of. And staying where it's comfortable may protect you from failure, but it also robs you of growth. You'll never know how strong, creative, or resilient you are until you face the fear that dares you to evolve. So when your heart starts racing, your palms start sweating, and your mind floods with doubt, pause and recognize that moment for what it is. A turning point, a threshold, a call to rise above the familiar and step into your greatness. Because the path to a meaningful life is always lined with fear, not as a blockade, but as a signal that you're on to something powerful. One of the biggest traps that keeps people from living out their potential is the belief that they need permission from family, friends, society, or even strangers to begin pursuing what's in their heart. We wait for someone to tell us we're good enough, talented enough, ready enough, ready enough. We wait for validation to confirm that our dream is worthy, that our voice matters, that we won't be laughed at or judged if we take the first step. But here's the truth. No one else can give you what you already possess, the right to begin. The need for approval often stems from fear. Fear of rejection, of not being accepted, of failing publicly. But the longer you wait for approval, the more disconnected you become from your inner compass. And slowly, the fire inside you begins to dim, not because the dream has died, but because it's suffocating under the weight of hesitation. The truth is, most people are too caught up in their own struggles to give you the approval you think you need. And even when they do, it's fleeting. The only approval that can sustain your journey is the one that comes from within, your own belief that what you're doing matters. You don't need to be perfect to begin. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need a flawless plan or a cheering crowd. You simply need the courage to take one step forward and then another and then another. Every expert was once a beginner. Every icon was once an unknown. The difference between those who make history and those who fade into the background is not talent or luck, it's action. Starting is the secret. You might stumble, you might even fail, but each experience, each mistake will teach you something valuable. You grow stronger, wiser, and more capable with every attempt. And most importantly, you stop living in the shadows of other people's opinions. You begin creating from your own light. That's when real progress happens, when you stop asking, can I do this? And start declaring, I will do this. Start declaring. One of the most powerful forms of freedom you will ever claim is the freedom to begin. To take the first step toward your dream, your purpose, your vision, without waiting for someone else's permission. Far too many people delay their journey because they are waiting for approval. Approval from society, from family, from friends, from mentors, even from strangers on the internet. But the truth is, the world won't always validate your dream before you start. In fact, most of the time, it won't make sense to anyone else until you prove it through action. Greatness doesn't come with a certificate of permission. Some of the most influential people in history began with no one believing in them but themselves. They were laughed at, doubted, overlooked, and still they chose to begin. Because they understood something vital. Approval is external, but purpose is internal. If you keep waiting for others to tell you you're ready, you'll spend your whole life standing at the starting line, never moving. You leave it in the way you show up for your family, in the risks you take to pursue your dreams, and in the values you embody. You don't have to wait to be remembered. You just have to start living in a way that matters to you. Waiting for the perfect moment is just fear wearing a mask of patience. Foxstick. The real power lies in taking action now, in embracing the imperfect, the uncertain, and the unknown with courage and purpose. Because when you do, you're not just living, you're laying the bricks of a legacy that will echo far beyond your time. So now the question is not if you were born to make history. The question is when you will decide to step into that truth. Because history doesn't wait. It doesn't wait. It doesn't wait for perfection, permission, or applause. It begins the moment you choose to believe in your purpose, rise above fear, and act with intention. You don't need to be extraordinary to begin. You simply need to begin. And through your journey, you become extraordinary. You become extraordinary. The world doesn't need another person trying to fit in. It needs you, bold, real, imperfect, powerful you, to stand up, speak out, and show what's possible. You carry something this world has never seen before and may never see again. So don't shrink, don't settle, don't wait. You were born to make history. Now go write it, with every breath, every step, every choice.